I'm sitting here in São Paulo, Brazil, 5 hours from a small city called Varginha that was the location of what could be one of the most dramatic, the most incredible UFO encounter in the history of ufology, perhaps even eclipsing Roswell itself. Now, if you're unfamiliar with this topic of extraterrestrial aliens, this is one episode that will absolutely blow your mind. Not only because we're going to be talking about a case that may have actually had extraterrestrial biological entities which people encountered in very recent times, meaning these people are still alive, but it's also that apparently pictures were taken of this being. What if I were to tell you that we might actually have one of the only images available of this Varginha extraterrestrial alien? Please stay tuned, because this is an episode you're not going to want to miss. Now, I want you to imagine the scenario just for a second. In January 1996, NORAD, and I'm talking about, yes, America's NORAD, contacts the Air Force in Brazil and tells them that an unidentified craft seems to be encroaching in Brazilian airspace. That same afternoon, hundreds, if not thousands of witnesses saw a cigar-shaped metallic ship seemingly in trouble with smoke pouring out, according to some witnesses, that maneuvered not only in erratic ways, but then eventually crashed in a field. And the most amazing aspect of this story is the idea that when these crafts crashed, there were actual biological entities that were not human, according to the witnesses, that ended up not only surviving the crash, but had been running around the town, apparently scared out of its mind, full out survival instincts, trying to survive this unbelievable occurrence of a being from another planet actually crashing on Earth. And this is really, I can't say enough about this incident, because let's think about the ramifications of what we're talking about here. Just try to imagine two sisters and a friend walking by a small little pasture near a brick wall, and in a corner, seeing this demonic, dark-skinned, oily, stinking, ammonia, sulfur. They said it was one of the smelliest things they've ever smelt before. With red, almost glowing type eyes, and just scared. What I found so amazing about this encounter is that the sister described the being as being not only scared, but it was like this exchange of fear, because obviously she's scared out of her mind. She's thinking she's looking at the devil himself in the eyes, and this creature in complete survival mode, knowing that probably this is it. I've crashed in the land of the cannibals, the land of the warring humans. And so this creature is there, scared out of its mind. So you have two beings from completely different planets facing each other, possibly experiencing the most amount of fears that they've ever felt in their entire lives. And this is the incident that happened in 1996 in January in Brazil. You don't even have to embellish a story to evoke a sense of, it's like you can't even write this. It's so remarkable what actually transpired in Varginha, Brazil. So according to Wikipedia, the name of the sisters was Lilian Silva and Valkyria Fatima Silva, and their friend was Katia Andrade Javier. You know, there's a handful of people that walked on the moon, but how many people have actually seen a being from another planet? This is absolutely just an amazing, amazing case. And if you saw the recent documentary that was made by James Fox, there was a lot of incredible interviews that was revealed in the documentary. I think James Fox did a great job in his documentary. I want to congratulate him. But what I really wanted to reiterate after watching this film is how credible some of the witnesses were and how much their story collaborated with one another. So you're talking about like people who are doctors, you're talking about the mayor of the actual city whose nephew actually dated one of the girls, and he's just absolutely like 100% convinced that this happened. We're talking about individuals who encountered the Brazilian military. Apparently there were 2 bases nearby. ESA was one of them. And so there's a lot of individuals. I mean, the fact that the army actually came to that town, there's no doubt about that. One of the witnesses is a military individual who had actually transported the alien himself. So if you think that these 3 sisters seeing the alien are the only witnesses, I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to crack your skeptical shell and just let you know that there are other witnesses that actually saw the alien. How many people described this unbelievable stenching, horrible stench of sulfur and ammonia? And it's, you know, when you watch something like this and you're watching the witnesses, it's like you almost have to watch it to believe it. You know, I mean, one of these ladies starts discussing that we're talking about, like the mother of the sisters, discusses actually encountering a man in black. And the guy offering her, saying, "Senhorita, a gente vai fazer você rica, we're gonna make you a rich woman." And she actually denies the money from the men in black, saying, "I cannot do this to my daughters. I cannot set an example where I'm asking them to lie." And you know, this is a really nice, good Catholic mother who basically didn't want to go against her principles. And it's probably one of the coolest aspects of the story, that you have this little Catholic mother from a rural town in Brazil basically telling the men in black to F off. I mean, come on. This case has everything. It has credible eyewitnesses, military individuals. We're talking about people who were actually witnesses to the radar when these beings were coming down. We have an actual extraterrestrial alien being that may have actually been photographed. We have a military individual who died of touching this extraterrestrial being. And of course, we have men in black. I mean, this is like the holy grail of all of the UFO cases, in my personal opinion. And the fact that we live only 5 hours away from Varginha, it's telling me that our next episode, we're gonna be taking place in Varginha. So that should be very exciting. So you might wanna stay tuned for that episode. So you might be asking, why in the world do you have a photo of an alien being and nobody else has this photo? It's a great question, but before we get into that, I just want to talk about what happened to Marco Chirizi, the military police officer. So one thing that I did not know about this case, that I only found out actually a couple days ago when I watched the documentary, James Fox documentary on the Varginha case, I didn't know that there were actually 2 aliens, that there were 2 different capture events that happened. One of the capture events, which is something that we're going to talk about that's related to the image, like I was saying earlier, I think we might actually have a real image of what happened there. And it has to do with what I'm talking about. It has to do with the fact that there are 2 different cases. Because before, I only knew about this particular capture, which is that one of the aliens, not sure if it's the same alien that the girl saw, but one of these aliens was seen crossing the road by the military police officers. And they essentially stopped the car, and one of the military police officers, I believe he was 23 at the time, named Marco Chirizi, decided to bravely capture this oily, stinking being with his bare hands. Yeah, if you're thinking about how careful NASA is to not contaminate even a moon with a single bacteria from one of the spacecrafts, you're probably thinking that this is not a good idea, to grab an alien that has oils seeping all over its skin with your bare hands. But unfortunately, Marco Chirizi did just exactly that, captured the alien with his bare hands, and a few days later, he started feeling sick. Eventually, he was admitted to the hospital. Now, I believe that he died very shortly after being admitted to the hospital, and I think the overall time scale was somewhere around 2 weeks since he had touched the being. But the way that I understood it is that his body had some kind of immune reaction, almost as if it was eating itself. due to some kind of unknown pathogen or bacteria that was inside his blood system. Obviously, I want to give my condolences to the family, but something that I do want to speak about this particular death is that it just shows you how deep this case is, how many things actually happen. It's very difficult when a person dies because of a case, because of an incident happening, and this person has family members, has sisters that are interested. It's very difficult to hide that. And this is why this case is so unbelievable in terms of, in my opinion, the evidence that is out there. When I started thinking about the skin, which some people said had almost like a texture of silicone, being all slimy, you know, it almost reminds me of a frog. Look, the most poisonous animal in the world, it's not a snake, it's a frog. Frogs can emit incredible toxins out of their skin, and it almost makes you question, was this a form of defense mechanism? Because this creature, as I was saying earlier, was petrified out of its mind. I mean, you want to talk about being scared. I mean, this thing might have shitted on itself if it could shit itself. And apparently it was making this noises like a kid's noise, like it was obvious to the people that this thing was suffering. Now let me explain why I think I might actually have a picture of this event. Well, the answer is actually pretty simple. It's because I have a UFO channel, because I've actually done this particular topic before. About 5 years ago, I made an episode that, though the whole episode wasn't about the Varginha case, a good portion of it was. And I had gathered a lot of research, and I came across this one small Brazilian website at the time that seemed to have something that looked like a real photograph. Though it's difficult to tell for certain, it does look like it's like a photographic evidence. It looks like a photo. It doesn't look like a drawing. So I ended up downloading this photo in my computer. It was only about 2 months ago that I was trying to showcase to my friends about this particular case, and I was looking for this exact image that I had discovered before. It doesn't exist anymore. This image apparently has been scrubbed off the internet, because I know that it used to be there. At least it was 5 years ago, and I had downloaded it in my computer. And so of course what I did is I took the image and I went into Google Chrome and I did one of those reverse search image analysis, and Google found 0 results. So though I have this image, which I did not fabricate, it was something that I grabbed from small websites, it's apparently unsearchable. It doesn't seem to exist anywhere else on the internet right now. And I don't know why. And then when I saw the documentary and I saw how many people were threatened over possibly having photographic evidence, there was one particular individual who actually threatened to shoot the documentarians if they enter his property, talking about ETs. And this is one of the guys who drove the beams. This is the guy who was actually the superior to Marco Chirizi, the guy who died. And he was literally just like threatening them. He's like, no, I'm gonna shoot you if you come to my property. So you have to wonder, is it possible that somebody actually deliberately scrubbed this image off the internet? And what really kind of got my attention, and look, I'm not gonna lie, this kind of shocked me, because at first I thought it was only one particular capture, as I was saying earlier, that I thought it was just Marco Chirizi capturing this thing with his bare hands. But when I saw the documentary by James Fox, I realized there was a second capture. A capture that at first didn't make sense to me when I was looking at what I thought was an image. I was looking at the uniform of the individuals. I said, this doesn't look like a military police uniform. Until I saw the documentary and they showcased the second capture, and it wasn't police, it was firemen. And that's when I realized, holy crap, this uniform is matching. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna show you the drawing right now that they showed in the documentary. And just look at the details. Look there, you see these firemen who are capturing this being with a net. Look at the dirt path. Look at the little grasses. You see it's a dirt path with kind of like isolated blades of grass. And without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, here is the image that I had downloaded 5 years ago of the Varginha ET alien. Yeah, would I want an image of higher quality? Absolutely. But the fact that this image seems to match almost exactly the scenario of the drawing, and the fact that there was apparent individuals who had photographic equipment, and videotapes, so people knew that there was photographic evidence, that there was some kind of video that was taken. The fact that I found this image 5 years ago from a small Brazilian website, who knows, maybe it was done by a local who actually lived in the area, but that this website apparently no longer exists, and that this image apparently can no longer be discovered in Google. All of those facts makes me believe that though small, though grainy, that this may actually be a real image of an extraterrestrial alien. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so if you want to scare the crap out of your sister, if you want to give your grandmother a heart attack, then feel free to recommend this video to them, because actually seeing a real extraterrestrial alien is not something that you get to see every day on YouTube. So thank you so much for following Second Earth. Don't forget to like this video. Don't forget to subscribe if you have not. This is Felipe speaking, signing out.